Not clear to me that this is an admirable thing, but I do admire human beings' consistency and more recently Americans' consistency to be given a treat and to then perform a trick. And I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm not trying to demean or insult, but more recognize that it's a biological thing. It is a psychological reality, and it is civilization, which, when you look at civilization closely, it's sort of a series of very elaborate dog training exercise performed uh, on bipedal mammals, which is us, with iPhones. And you can map that over. Like take dogs. You want your dog to go to the bathroom outside, obviously. You don't want them to go inside, obviously. So you reward their behavior every time that they do the thing that you want. You incentivize them to go to the bathroom outside. So every time they do go outside, you give them a treat. And before long, Fido or Rover or whatever is scratching at the door, trying to get outside, eager, like a new entrepreneur, to earn that dog treat. And then there's us Americans. If you tell them there will be free food, like clockwork, the parking lot absolutely fills up. If you announce that there's going to be an open bar, whew, it's like Lazarus rose again, but only because tequila was involved. And if you mention the phrase, no work requirements, half the country appears in pajamas, like they were summoned by some kind of Pavlovian dinner bell. To be clear, we are not dealing with humans who dislike incentives. We are dealing with humans who have mastered them. And then, after decades of handing out little treats for little tricks, we wake up one morning, pat our pockets, and say, well, look at that. We're all out of treats. We are out of treats. And the nation stands there just blinking at us, disappointed, as if we somehow forgot their birthday. This is what economists try to describe with really long, fancy, sometimes Latin words, but I prefer to call it the great American pattern addiction. We trained ourselves quite lovingly into believing that free things miraculously appear as if they fell from the sky. That borders, they should work on an honor system, that money grows on the Federal Reserve's enchanted money tree out in the back, and that the bill always goes to someone else. Somebody else is going to pick this up, right? When the bill shows up at a really big dinner, like a dozen people there, everybody's got alligator arms looking for who's actually going to reach for it. Like the 1%, rich people, the government, future generations who are just conveniently not around to voice any kind of an opposition to that. But eventually, reality, rude, uncivilized, and wholly indifferent to our feelings, wanders in and says, we need to talk. We need to have a serious conversation. On immigration, the all you can eat buffet without a door charge. Once upon a time, Ellis Island was a pattern interrupt. Come in, but you must pass through this door, fill out this form, and try not to cough on anybody. It was orderly, it was structured, it was like the DMV with at least a boat ride and some better views. Today, our strategy for immigration is more like a giant frat party. And I know, being a frat guy, there's no list, there's no plan, certainly not any capacity limits, and nobody is going to be in charge of snacks for this party. So, why would it surprise us that people are showing up? We offered the human equivalent of Costco free sample tables stretched across the entire southern border. And then, after offering unlimited passes, we asked indignantly, why are so many people using these passes? Sir, the people have been doing exactly what we incentivized. Oh, okay. What about welfare? The treat jar that just refills itself just over and over and over again. In the old days, welfare was a temporary stepping stone, a safety net. Today, it's become more like a recliner with built-in cup holders. It's got one of those freezers or fridges right there next to you. You don't even have to get up to grab your next beverage of choice. We built these incentives, big, soft, comfortable incentives, and then are confused when people followed them. It's not that humans won't work, it's that humans won't work unnecessarily. That's really important. It's not that we won't work, it's this if we don't have to, then we're not going to. If you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Give him a fish every day for 3 generations, and he'll start a union to protect his right to unlimited halibut. And then one day you decide we should encourage self reliance again. Remember that thing we used to do? You know, noble, wise. It's also, if you've ever owned a dog or tried to change its habits, something between a miracle and a bar fight to make that kind of a change. Because once a pattern is established, moving the treat feels not like policy reform, but cruelty. Cruelty. Inhumane. Hmm. To the recipient, it's not reform, it's a betrayal. It's like telling your dog, yeah, for 10 years, we rewarded you for, you know, not peeing on the rug, but now we've changed our minds, get to the backyard. So the dog doesn't understand the new policy. The dog only knows the rug was working just fine to pee on. The impossible task, teaching an entire nation to stand up after years of sitting down. But now we find ourselves wanting to interrupt this pattern that we created. We want immigration, but not infinite, unlimited, unbridled immigration. We want welfare, but as a safety net, not permanent welfare. We want compassion, but we don't want bankruptcy. We want self-reliance, but without asking anyone to actually rely on themselves. So it's a very delicate balance that we want to inspire responsibility without being accused of cruelty. We want sustainability without cutting anything unsustainable. And we want to turn down the music without ending the party. This, my friend, is the national equivalent of wanting six-pack abs without doing any sit-ups or hiring a trainer or cutting out carbs or giving up ice cream at midnight or acknowledging the tragedy of our elastic waistbands. We want a pattern interrupt, but with no interruption. So what do? It's kind of a pickle. Well, if we take the Mark Twain approach, you can gently remove the treat jar, put it somewhere visible, but slightly out of reach, and declare, friends, treats are not gone. They are simply evolving. Then you give the nation a new job. Stand on your own feet, pay your own way, and build a future worthy of gratitude. People are going to protest. They're going to stomp their feet. They're going to howl. They will tweet in all caps. But then slowly and stubbornly and heroically, they will begin to adapt. Because we human beings are remarkable creatures. If you give them nothing, they will find a way. Give them everything and they'll forget how. Give them purpose, give them agency, and give them dignity of effort, and they will surprise you every time. I forget who said it, but the phrase goes like this. It's this bigotry of low expectations. Well, how about bigotry of no expectations at all? That's bigotry. Every human being is perfectly capable of caring for themselves. We've just forgotten that. We've forgotten that you're not supposed to do things for kids that they can possibly do on their own because you're robbing them of the ability to learn how to do that. If you just tie your kids' shoes all the time, they're never going to learn to tie their shoes. Same thing goes for our elderly loved ones. We need to help them to remain as autonomous and independent for as long as they possibly can. So you don't want to do things for them because then they'll atrophy. That muscle, that skill, that know-how, that ability will go away, which it eventually will. But we want to hold on to it for as long as we possibly can. And in a lot of ways, we are infantilizing. Infantilizing? We're turning these just giant groups of people into just children that can't care for themselves, that just why would they want to? Because we're not making it necessary. I don't think there's anybody out there who wants to get rid of welfare. I don't think there's anybody out there who wants to get rid of food stamps. I don't think there's anybody out there that wants to see families, homeless or not without food. I don't think anybody wants that. But we also don't want to see and we don't want to be taken advantage of. We want to inspire personal agency. We want to inspire self-reliance. We want to inspire autonomy. We want to inspire people to get the most out of life, not just to be waiting around for handouts. There's not a lot of dignity in that. I don't think that that's a very dignified life. Do you? What's better? In a perfect world, in an ideal world, and I know that there's not, we don't live in an ideal world, so there's not ideal or scenarios, but what would be the better? Would it be better if everybody appreciated the dignity and value of work and did it every day? Or would the opposite be better? If people just no longer needed to work and were given everything? I think that that's a pretty obvious thing. That of course we want people to feel like they're in charge and they have agency and that they take dignity and have dignity from a hard day's work or a day's work, whatever it might be. I'm going on here, but you get the idea. We want to care for one another, but caring for one another does not mean just giving somebody everything. Sometimes caring for people is tough love. Sometimes caring for people is accountability. And I believe in my heart of hearts that true love is accountability. It's pushing people to do more, waking them up when they've sort of been lulled to sleep. It's helping people to do their part by doing their best.